Let us talk about a very amazing process, pollination. Should we ruin it or promote it? Look how amazing this process is happening. Animals like bees, like the birds, like the butterfly, and even the winds are working hard to provide us with our food. Yes, Olala friends, to provide us humans with our food. That's it, Olala friends. We will talk about pollination. In fact, what is pollination? As many of us may know it, pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the male anther of a flower to the female stigma. It is an essential part of plant reproduction of seeds and fruits. So, Olala friends, let us see some of the amazing facts about pollination. As we said in the beginning, one of the strong elements of pollination is the wind. The wind is a pollinator. It is one of the strongest pollinators that we may know. You may wonder and say, how does the wind act as a pollinator? In fact, plants that rely on wind for pollination disperse vast amounts of pollen particles in the air, hoping that a small fraction will successfully reach their intended recipients on other plants. So several crucial agricultural crops, including wheat, rice, corns, and oats, etc., are wind pollinated. Isn't it beautiful to see that we can have our foods, our fruits, our nuts by pollination by the wind? We have other pollinators, as you can see, Olala friends. Here we have the bee pollinating, as it says there in the writings. We have also other pollinators. We have the bees, we have the butterflies, and we have even the birds that are also big pollinators. They are doing an amazing job in providing our food for us humans by pollinating the plant. Let us talk about some of the fascinating and amazing facts about pollination by the bees. In fact, bees are one of the most important pollinators. Here, one of the amazing ways that the bees use to pollinate: buzz pollination, also called sonication. What the bees are doing when applying this particular technique to pollinate: the bee generates a buzzing sound while flying, which helps dislodge the pollen from the flower's anthers. This buzzing technique enhances the efficiency of pollen collection and transfer. The bees don't use this particular technique on every plant. They use many other techniques to pollinate. This is one of the amazing and fascinating ways that the bees are using to pollinate. Yes, Olala friends, this is only one of the amazing ways that the pollinators are using. Pollinators, specifically the bees, are using to pollinate so that we can have our food. In fact, the production volume of pollinators-dependent crops has increased threefold over the last 5 decades, making us more and more dependent on pollination. We really need the pollinators to continue doing their works for us to be able to have our food to eat. In our next videos, we will continue sharing with you some other fascinating, amazing ways that the animals, that the bees, the butterflies, and those other animals are contributing for us to have our food. And isn't it amazing to see that even the wind contributes amazingly for us humans to have our food? So, oh la la friend, this is the amazing process of pollination that we are discussing here, and we can see how different elements of the nature are interdependent to one another for survival. So we need the animals, we need the birds, the bees, the butterflies to continue doing their works. We need the winds to continue doing this work for the pollination to happen and for us to have our food. So, oh la la friends, we know now the next time we see a bee, we see a butterfly, we see the wind blowing on our plant, we know that we must really leave them do their work, because our survival is dependent on the work that they are doing. But it is very sad to notice that pollinators are being challenged for their survival. They are facing many challenges, including habitat loss, pesticide use, climate change, and disease. Even the chemical fertilizers that we are using are very threatening to the survival of the pollinators. Yes, oh la la friend, the chemical fertilizers are presenting a danger. They are killing the pollinators. They are killing the bees, as you saw in the images. They are threatening their survival and their lives. So, protecting pollinators is essential for the survival of many plant species and for the production of our food and natural resources. We need to be conscious of this problem, and we need to do what we can to help reducing the impact, the negative impact that these facts have on the pollinators. The bees and the birds and the butterflies and all those other animals that are contributing in the pollination, we need really to see what we can do to protect these beautiful animals for this amazing process of pollination to still be there and to continue prospering for our own benefit and for the beauty of the nature. So, oh la la friend, you can help by reducing your impact and by planting for the pollinators, and also by spreading the word so that you can make your contribution for the pollination, for the amazing process of the pollination to continue being there for even the survival of the human race. That's it, oh la la friend. This is what we wanted to share with you in this video of today, and as we promised, we will continue in our next videos. Please check them. You will see in our shorts as well some other amazing and fascinating facts about this amazing process of pollination, from which we have our food and from which even these animals, the pollinators, have also their own food. And let us, oh la la friends, not forget that we can have our share in contributing to protect the pollinators, because it's very essential for the pollinators to continue being there and doing their job in providing us with our food and in their existence for them to survive. And we can have our share in contributing in this by really reducing our impact in the use of all the negative elements like the chemical fertilizers or the pesticides that are not organic and that are threatening the lives of the pollinators. So, Olala friends, we want also to plant for the pollinators and also to spread the word so that we can do things better for the pollinators to continue being there and for us to continue enjoying our food, continue enjoying coexisting with the pollinators. Thank you, Olala friends. Please share, subscribe, and support us in the channel, and let us continue enjoying the marvelous things in the nature, things like pollination. Thank you. See you in our next videos.